Do we, as Australian citizens, have a right to know about what is happening in our country? There have always been whistleblowers, here, there, everywhere. These individuals often put themselves into the crossfire, risking their careers, mental health, and physical well-being to shine the light in the dark, exposing any illegal actions or corrupt figures. Within the past few decades, several whistleblower policies have been put in place, protecting an individual against any repercussions they may receive after tattling on illegal actions. Some people believe that we, as Australians, have a right to know about our country's affairs, whilst others believe that some things are better kept secret and swept under the rug. A certain amount of this information should be disclosed to us as citizens of the country. However, it is imperative that us, as patriotic citizens of this country who love our country, have a right to know about our country. Meaning that things should not be swept under the rug, but classified documents should remain withheld from the public. Aussie whistleblowers are facing prosecution without the protection that they should be receiving for risking it all as whistleblowers. The Whistleblower Protection Policy is included in the Corporations Act 2001 and the Taxation Administration Act 1953. Under this policy, whistleblowers are described as someone with inside knowledge of an organization who reports misconduct, dishonest, or illegal activity within that organization. However, comedic YouTuber and journalist Friendly Jordies or Jordan Shanks has investigated several corrupt officials, most notably former Deputy Premier Giovanni Dominic John Barilaro. Mr. Shanks ridiculed Barilaro, whilst also exposing several of his illegal acts. Mr. Shanks faced several death threats, multiple firebombings, court prosecutions, and attacks from the media. At the end of the day, Mr. Jordan Shanks had received unjust punishment for his goodwill, and it was all because he did not have enough backing. He had stated that he had ran out onto no man's land without any support, and support never came. The fact that he wasn't granted protection under the whistleblower protection policy, despite having released information of illegal activity and misconduct from a former deputy premier during his time in politics, further enforces the fact that our boundless patriotism is taken for granted, with a lack of support to those who need it most for their good-willed intentions. However, there is also the issue of certain information and classified documents being shared with the public. Whilst whistleblowers should be protected as important and brave truth speakers rather than being prosecuted, there is also the side of unlawful sharing of government classified documents. These documents are typically classified for a reason, usually preventing possible societal or global conflicts, as they are theoretically in the best interests of the people. However, the topic does not appear to be so black and white, as these classified documents contain information about war crimes. David McBride, former British Army Major and Australian Army lawyer, pleaded guilty to unlawfully releasing classified information on the Afghan files, which ended up being published by ABC. It detailed Australian troops' alleged illegal killings in Afghanistan. The ACT Chief of Justice noted the long delays in hearing the case, saying the charges related to an event 6 to 10 years ago, further rejecting the appeal as it may not be run until later the year after. Regarding this case, David McBride was found to have no legal right or obligation to breach orders. With his actions not being justified by public interest, David McBride faced a 50-year sentence in prison for leaking information about alleged Afghan war crimes to the media. This shows the struggle the struggles of whistleblowers. These good-willed individuals do what is hard, but also what is right, even though it puts them into dangerous positions. Despite David's good deeds, he is imprisoned and shunned by the media. Whilst this whistleblowing doesn't make the Australian Army look good, isn't that the point? Aren't some things more important to say or do than hide? The information is justly released to us, as the public, as those who had committed these illegal killings in Afghanistan could be punished properly. Had he not released the information, it is believable for the case to have just been swept under the rug without proper justice being served for the victims and their families. Yet another example of the mistreating of these brave, patriotic truth speakers, who face the dangers imposed by powerful politicians and more. These individuals should not only be granted protection, but also support in what they do. So, do we, as citizens of this beautiful country, deserve to know? I believe that it should be so. I also believe that whistleblowers in our country should receive proper protection if what they are doing is not only in goodwill for the people of the country, but also when it does not put others in harm's way. A good example of improper protection is Mr. Shanks, as he did not have enough backing or protection to be able to continue with his investigation, facing severe retaliation for his just and noble attempts. In David McBride's case, whilst his sharing of the documents may have been unlawful, it is also clear that he did it in goodwill for those who had and may still be affected by these illegal killings. While some people believe that whistleblowers should just pipe down, if their intentions are just and noble, they should not only be releasing the information, but also receiving protection. The only thing we can do, as the public, is fight for what is right, which would be our rights as citizens of the country to know what is happening within our country. The most effective way for us to do this is by supporting these brave truth speakers financially, protesting, or spreading the word through the media.